Story we have been following throughout the past 2 days surrounds the superstar herself, Caitlin Clark, the WNBA star, the Indiana Fever star, Caitlin Clark. She's going to miss all the action on the court.
The sports world has been buzzing for days, but not for the reasons the WNBA hoped. The league's biggest star, Caitlin Clark, the Indiana Fever's generational talent, is sidelined with a groin injury, turning what was meant to be her triumphant All-Star weekend in her hometown of Indianapolis into a financial and public relations catastrophe. This isn't just a story about one player missing one game. It's a damning expose of the WNBA's failure to protect its most valuable asset and the devastating consequences that followed. From collapsing ticket prices to empty seats at Gainbridge Fieldhouse, this disaster reveals a league out of touch with its fans and incapable of capitalizing on its biggest opportunity in years. Let's break it down, from the hype that built this weekend to the officiating crisis that brought it crashing down, and ask the question everyone's thinking.
Caitlin Clark gets hurt, and guess what? Your demand vanishes because people ain't going to pay up to see these athletes that are ungrateful that their sport's growing. People aren't paying up for that. And we are here, right here. The tickets for this game, for this All-Star game, they've dropped by 50%.
Will the WNBA ever learn its lesson? The hype. Indianapolis prepares for a historic weekend. Indianapolis had been gearing up for months, ready to roll out the red carpet for the 2025 WNBA All-Star weekend. The city saw this as more than just a game. It was a chance to cement its status as a basketball mecca and showcase Caitlin Clark, the local hero who'd taken the league by storm. Clark, the former Iowa Hawkeye who shattered NCAA scoring records, had transformed the Fever into must. The All-Star game was billed as her coronation.
When you come to Indianapolis, look, this is what everybody's been talking about. This right here, Caitlin Clark, the banner right there on the JW Marriott. It is 34 stories banner, unbelievable. Is the largest banner ever on the JW Marriott. You may think about the bracket. Remember back in the NCAA tournament back in 2021? Yeah, it's bigger than that as well. 113,000 square feet. It is unbelievable. And you see what it says, from downtown in my town. No doubt, this is something that is grabbing everyone's attention. And who else better to be on that than the star herself, Caitlin Clark.
A moment for the city and the league to celebrate a player who'd single-handedly driven unprecedented viewership and revenue. The city spared no expense. A massive 34-story banner of Clark, 113,000 square feet, the largest ever displayed on the JW Marriott, loomed over downtown, dwarfing even the iconic NCAA tournament bracket from 2021. The banner's message, "From downtown in my town," captured the pride of a city that saw Clark as one of its own. Local businesses went all in. Restaurants hired extra staff, hotels booked up months in advance, and vendors stocked piles of all-star merchandise, from jerseys to commemorative cups. The Indianapolis airport even constructed a replica all-star court to greet visitors. A testament to the city's all-in commitment, ticket sales reflected the mania. Gainbridge Fieldhouse sold out within hours when tickets went on sale, with get-in prices hitting $121 and average resale tickets fetching $260, according to Ticketmaster data. Premium seats went for thousands, marking the highest prices in WNBA All-Star Game history. The economic projections were staggering. Local officials estimated the weekend would generate millions in revenue.
Really unfortunate that Caitlin Clark missed it. The crowd would have been exploding. The crowd would have been exploding. The arena would have been exploding. Oh man, a big miss as far as the from $121 all the way down to just $64 after news broke that Caitlin Clark won't be playing. These are people saying, I'm done. I don't want to watch. Caitlin Clark's not. I bought tickets solely to watch Caitlin Clark in the All-Star game. I made accommodations solely to get to Indiana to watch Caitlin Clark in the All-Star game. She is injured. I have no interest in that anymore. People are selling their tickets so much so they just want off of them. 121, okay. You want it for 100? Oh no, okay. I guess I gotta lower it to 80. Oh, you don't want to buy it for 80? Okay, I guess I'll lower it to 70. You don't want to buy it to 70? I guess I'll lower it to $64. The WNBA is paying attention to these trends, and they're seeing firsthand what Caitlin Clark is worth to this league.
Rivaling the impact of the NBA's All-Star Game hosted in Indianapolis years earlier. This was supposed to be a slam dunk for the WNBA. a showcase of its growth and Clark's star power. But then, everything changed. The collapse, Clark's injury, and the market freefall. On July 17, 2025, the bombshell dropped. Caitlin Clark would miss the All-Star game due to a groin injury. The announcement, first reported on social media, sent shockwaves through the basketball world. Within hours, the ticket market imploded. Average ticket prices plummeted from $262 to $64, a jaw-dropping 75% drop. The get-in price fell from $121 to $65. And even at those bargain basement rates, buyers were scarce. Social media captured the chaos in real time, with fans posting desperate pleas to offload tickets. Bought these for $200 to see Caitlin Clark. Now I can't give them away for $50. The collapse wasn't just about numbers, it was personal.
The ticket prices. The demand fell off a cliff. And it's not just the on-court product that suffers without number 22, Caitlin Clark. The entire weekend's economic opportunities have felt the fallout.
But when it comes to the vendors in the arena, the shops in the arena, they're not going to have the same amount of people patronize their business as they would if Caitlin Clark was there. The surrounding restaurants, the surrounding areas, the surrounding attractions, they're not going to have the same number of people patronize their business as they would if Caitlin Clark was healthy.
This year, for the second time ever, the WNBA All-Star Game was supposed to feature an actual star. Normally, this celebration of pretend basketball features players that no one's ever heard of.
Fans who'd traveled cross-country, booked hotels, and planned their summers around seeing Clark play were livid. One ex-post summed it up. I flew to Indy for Caitlin Clark's All-Star moment. Now I'm out $500 and stuck watching a game I don't care about. Another user wrote, I didn't buy tickets to see a layup line. Without Clark, this is a waste. Ticket resellers who'd banked on Clark's draw to flip seats for profit faced catastrophic losses. Listings flooded secondary markets like StubHub and SeatGeek, with prices dropping by the hour as panic set in. This wasn't an isolated incident. The WNBA had seen Clark's absence tank ticket prices before, but never on this scale.
How did we get to an all-star game in Indiana where Caitlin Clark is not healthy enough to play? Well, it all started last year, in her rookie season, where she received 20% of all the flagrant fouls in the league. And most of them came from Angel Reese in the Chicago Sky. And these weren't basketball plays. They were not only fouling her, but they were getting up, laughing about it, laughing about Caitlin Clark getting assaulted. Any other work environment, people go to jail for what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, there's a level of physicality that they're able to play with against her. You know, I knew it as an opponent, and I see it as her coach. And you know, I'm not exactly sure why, but it just is what it is. And we've got to help her learn to adjust and use it against them in certain ways. You know, we've got to find some ways to make it a little bit easier for her. But the level of physicality overall in our league has been at a different level than it's been for a long time.
In May, when Clark missed regular season games with a quad strain, road game prices dropped significantly, 47% for a Washington game and 71% for a Chicago matchup. But those were regular season games. This was the All-Star game in Clark's hometown, with months of hype and millions in investments on the line. The crash was unprecedented, exposing a brutal truth. The WNBA's record-breaking season was built on one player's shoulders. Without Clark, the league's product wasn't just less appealing. It was borderline unsellable. The economic fallout, a city left reeling. The ripple effects of Clark's absence hit Indianapolis like a tidal wave. Gainbridge Fieldhouse, which hadn't seen an unsold seat for a Fever game in nearly 2 years, faced its first non-sellout of the season. Vendors who'd invested thousands in all-star merchandise, Clark jerseys, posters, and bobbleheads, were left with unsold inventory piling up. Restaurants and bars expecting packed houses saw reservations canceled en masse. Hotels reported empty rooms as fans who'd planned to attend the weekend bailed. One downtown restaurant owner told a local news outlet, "We hired extra staff and stocked up for a record weekend. Now we're throwing out food and cutting shifts. It's a disaster." The economic impact wasn't just local. The WNBA itself took a massive
And last year, I noticed how much it was just Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark was taking all the hits. Caitlin Clark was taking all the abuse. But this year they've added Sophie Cunningham. She gets more flagrant fouls on her than anybody in the league besides Caitlin Clark. And Aaliyah Boston, she's been taking hits as well. But the worst thing is the consistency. So they don't call flagrant fouls, or most of the time, Caitlin Clark could be held for an entire game at a time. They don't call fouls. They don't call common fouls. But then when it's the Indiana Fever, guess what? Touch foul here, touch foul here. They call absolutely nothing.
I actually had that injury 2006, and listen, I was heavily taped around my thigh, around my glute, just trying to make sure there was enough pressure to hold that groin. And the hard part is that the groin is sort of an area that you can't just touch and go, it hurts right here. You feel it deep. You have to get a lot of deep treatment, whether it's ice and heat and rest. Well, can Caitlin Clark, she can't find a lot of rest right now because she's mid-season. But I think that injury is really tough because it lingers. No matter how much medicine you take, you can feel fine. You get back out there, one move, one change of direction, and boom, you're right back feeling that same type of pain. So it's going to be a tough injury that she's going to have to manage.
How long did it take you to recover from?
To be honest, Tracy, I play tennis and I can still feel that injury linger because I don't know that it ever really goes away. You just learn to manage and play with it, which
hit. The league had touted its 2025 season as a historic success, with record attendance and viewership driven largely by Clark's star power. But the All-Star Weekend revealed the fragility of that growth. Without Clark, the event lost its luster, and the financial losses piled up. Merchandise sales tanked, broadcast ratings for the game were projected to plummet, and corporate sponsors who'd banked on Clark's presence to amplify their brands were left scrambling. The league's failure to deliver its biggest draw wasn't just a PR nightmare, it was a multi-million-dollar misstep. The root cause, an officiating crisis. So how did the WNBA let this happen? Clark's groin injury wasn't a random stroke of bad luck. It was the predictable result of a season-long officiating crisis that the league refused to address. From the moment Clark entered the WNBA, opponents targeted her with aggressive, often dirty play. As the All-Star Weekend spiraled into chaos, all eyes turned to WNBA Commissioner Cathy Engelbert. This was her moment to show leadership, address the officiating crisis, and reassure fans that the league valued its biggest star. Instead, she delivered a masterclass in corporate evasion. Asked about the refereeing issues during a press conference, Engelbert called a recent meeting with players and stakeholders productive and constructive, emphasizing shared goals while sidestepping the core problem. "No one's ever happy with officiating," she said. "We're working hard to put the best product on the court." Fans weren't buying it. X lit up with frustration. "Engelbert's acting like this is business as usual. It's not. Protect your stars," another user wrote. "She's talking about productive meetings while indie businesses lose millions. Clueless." Fans didn't want platitudes, they wanted accountability. They wanted Engelbert to admit the officiating had been abysmal and outline concrete steps to fix it, like stricter enforcement of flagrant fouls or better training for referees. Instead, her response poured fuel on the fan boycott, with many refusing to attend a game they now saw as a sham. Engelbert's disconnect wasn't just tone-deaf, it was costly. While she talked about team profitability, Indianapolis businesses counted their losses, and ticket prices continued their freefall. The commissioner's failure to address the officiating crisis directly sent a message. The WNBA wasn't serious about protecting its players or its fans. It was a stunning misstep for a league that had spent months touting its growth, only to fumble its biggest stage. The game itself, a glorified layup line, the All-Star game itself was the final nail in the coffin. Without Clark, Gainbridge Fieldhouse felt like a ghost town, with patches of empty seats in a venue that had been packed for every Fever game. The energy was flat, the crowd subdued. The game, meant to be a showcase of the WNBA's best, devolved into what one analyst called a glorified layup line. The league's new four-point shot gimmick backfired spectacularly, with players jacking up long-range shots to no effect. Defense was non-existent, effort was minimal, and the product was, in the words of one ex-user, an abomination to basketball. The lack of competitiveness wasn't just disappointing, it was embarrassing. Fans who tuned in expecting a celebration of the sport got a half-hearted scrimmage that felt more like a pickup game at the local Y. Ratings projections, already shaky without Clark, took another hit as viewers turned away. The contrast to regular season fever games, where Clark's presence electrified the crowd, was stark. Without her, the WNBA's biggest stage exposed how much the league relies on one player to drive interest. In a twist that added insult to injury, the New York Liberty's mascot, Ellie the Elephant, generated more buzz than the game itself. During All-Star Weekend, Ellie was spotted recruiting Clark, a bold move that sparked speculation about Clark's future with the Fever. X posts captured the moment. The Liberty mascot is out here doing more for Clark than the WNBA commissioner, one fan wrote. Another posted, Ellie gets it. Treat your stars like stars. The Liberty stunt underscored a broader truth. Some teams understand Clark's value better than the league does. While the WNBA let its star get battered, the Liberty were positioning themselves as a destination that would protect and elevate her. The broader implications, a league at a crossroads. The All-Star disaster wasn't just about one weekend. It was a wake-up call for the WNBA. The league has spent years struggling for relevance, battling low ratings and financial instability. Clark's arrival changed everything, bringing record viewership, sold-out arenas, and a surge in sponsorships. But the Indianapolis debacle proved that this growth is fragile. Without Clark, the league's product struggles to compete in a crowded sports landscape. The empty seats, crashing ticket prices, and fan backlash weren't just about one injury. They were a referendum on the WNBA's priorities. The officiating crisis is at the heart of this. By failing to protect Clark, the league alienated the fans who'd fueled its resurgence. The numbers tell the story. Clark's games draw 30 to 40% higher attendance than the league average, and her presence boosts TV ratings by double digits. When she's absent, the drop-off is immediate and severe. This isn't just about Clark's stats, her NCAA record 3,000 x 51 points or her WNBA leading assists. It's about her ability to bring new fans to a league that desperately needs them. The WNBA's refusal to address the physicality targeting her risks not just her health, but the league's future. Fans are voting with their wallets, and the message is clear. Protect your stars or lose your audience. The boycott of the All-Star Game wasn't just about Clark's injury. It was about a league that seems to take its fans for granted. X posts captured the sentiment. The WNBA acts like we'll watch no matter what. Newsflash, we're here for Clark, not your productive meetings. Another user wrote, I've been a WNBA fan for 20 years, but this is the last straw. Fix the refs or I'm done. What's next? Can the WNBA recover? The question now is whether the WNBA can learn from this disaster. The league has a golden opportunity with Clark, a player who transcends basketball and draws casual fans in a way no one has since Maya Moore or Cheryl Swoops. But that opportunity comes with responsibility. Protecting Clark isn't just about one player. It's about safeguarding the league's growth. Stricter officiating, better referee training, and a commissioner willing to confront problems head-on are non-negotiable. If the WNBA continues to ignore the officiating crisis, it risks more injuries, more fan backlash, and a return to the days of empty arenas and dwindling relevance. For Indianapolis, the wounds will linger. Businesses that bet big on the All-Star Weekend are already counting their losses, and the city's reputation as a basketball capital took a hit. But for the WNBA, the stakes are even higher. Clark's injury and the All-Star debacle exposed a league at a crossroads. Will it double down on its mistakes or seize this chance to rebuild trust with fans? The answer will determine whether the WNBA can sustain its momentum or squander the biggest opportunity in its history.